come from working class background and you elevate to CEO and you pass away and you have several $1 million, if the next generation comes along and they don't add to it or build on it and they lose it, you're not building wealth, right? It has to go for 3 generations.
Read the good earth. Let's see.
Right, it has to go for 3 generations. When after the Civil War, one of the things that happened on your union side was they put together a committee to figure out what to do with the quote unquote Negro. And one of the things that was initially was posed was 40 acres and a mule, right? We're going to, because they understood that in order for them to have citizenship and establish some economic buy-in, they had to have land and a way to farm that land at an economic basis. In the context of renegotiating with the former Confederacy and realigning whiteness, right, they ditched that plan and took all the soldiers that were in the South policing this new structural dynamic, pulled them out, and that's when you have the KKK, the Red Knights, and that's when you have the onset of Jim Crow, right? And it was negotiated on the backs of black people who had helped the Union, right? There was no reparations for the generations, the 400 years of lost labor, of violence, of death. Black folks were just supposed to pick up the pieces and move forward without schools, without hospitals, without any kind of economic basis, without any of the capital that they built, right? You heard of this recent Academy Awards, Shabuzi said, oh, immigrants built this country. No, Africans, enslaved Africans built this country.
Right.
Like literally, right? Enslaved Africans built this country, right? And that's the reality of the situation. And black folks have never, like, you see bits and pieces of that in California where some of the prime real estate beachfront properties just recently gave back to the descendants that were run off, and this property was worth billions of dollars, right? Rosewood, right? Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that were bombed, right? These were economic spaces that black people built up from the ground up. So a lot of times I hear folks say, "Oh, well, black people, they don't save enough, they don't invest." No. This is a historical infrastructure issue. Redlining, right? Not having access to the GI Bill, not having access to Social Security. The white middle class was built in America through the federal government.
Right.
Without the federal government, without the VA loans, without college grants to go to college, without land, the Homestead Act, where they just gave land to people, right? They gave land to white people, right? Without these things, you don't have the middle class, right? All of these things. So this is not. It has nothing to do with individuality. It has nothing to do with buckling up your bootstraps and all this kind of stuff that we hear, right? It is about an economic infrastructure that was created that you can't just duplicate that in one generation. That was done over several generations.
But the color of money is what is